Hi, ladies. You're going to have to bear with me if I cough or whatever else might happen here. I'm fighting some kind of head chest stuff, and I've got that nasty cough. Um, I was thinking about, okay, what do I want to make my videos about this span of time that we're doing the mom's mentoring thing? And I started thinking about when I was a young mom, when I was a young woman, about the fact that I needed somebody to talk to. I just need somebody to sit and share with. Because I felt like as a young mom, especially when my kids were littles, and then I had them in elementary school, and then I had them in junior high, and then I had them in high school. And I felt like everyone around me was nailing it and that I wasn't. And every time I'd sit in a Bible class, I felt worse about myself. I'm looking at sitting through these parenting classes and going, I am failing. I am just failing. So I thought I wanted somebody to talk to, and I found me someone, by the way, a wonderful woman. But I thought, what we're going to do with these videos, what we're going to do with these is I'm just going to talk. I've got me a cup of coffee. What's my cup say? The world needs people like you. Oh, that's talking to you all. The world needs people like you. Isn't that wonderful? But I got me a cup of coffee, and I thought we'd just visit. I wanted to share with you, Wayne and I were in Una, Tennessee. It's a part of Nashville, this past weekend doing a marriage seminar. And I had a young woman come up to me, and I started just kind of chit-chatting with her, and I asked her how long she'd been married, and she told me 13 years. And I asked her if she had kids, and she said, yeah, she had 2, and the oldest was 17. And I said, oh, you have a story. And she said, yeah, I do. And she kind of shared her story with me that she was not living a faithful life. She actually was raised Jehovah's Witness, but she wasn't living a faithful life. She was going to marry this young man before her husband. She was going to marry this young man. They had a child together, and it just fell apart. And then her husband came into her life when her son was 18 months old and married her. And her son, her husband, is the only father this child had known. And I said, that's my story too. That's a great story. And I asked her, I said, so 17, that's an interesting age. And she said, oh, he's such a good boy. He just is so respectful, and he's involved in school, and he's loving and kind. And I went, well, good job, Mama. You've done a good job there. And she said, oh, I don't know that it was me. And I said, well, I believe that you do the best you can do, especially we're in that moment where we feel like we're failing, we're struggling, going, I don't know what I'm doing here. None of us know what we're doing here. We've talked about that before. Each phase of parenting with one individual child is new and different. Then if you have more than one child, each phase is not like that other child. So it's all new. But I told her, I said, but God fills in the gaps. When we're struggling and we're doing the best that we can do, when I learned that God's going to fill in those gaps for me, He loves my kids more than I do. When I learned that, it gave me a peace and it gave me hope. And I said, God has obviously done that for you. Well, I found out later. I mean, she hugged me. She was very sweet about the whole thing. Gonna have a drink of coffee here. Well, I found out later through our conversation, we were talking, and she said, well, I haven't been to church in a while. And I said, oh, okay, why not? And she said, well, I'm a teacher and I'm busy, and Saturdays and Saturdays are full of sports, and Sundays is my day to sleep in. And I said, I understand that. I mean, life gets so busy, and we're so tired as mamas. I'm tired still. I get it. I understand that. And I said, well, I'm going to pray about that for you. I said, I'm going to pray that you feel that pull in your heart, and that you remember how God continues to bless you, and that you have this pull into this family. And if not this family, you find you a church family where you can go. And she just hugged me, and it was wonderful. And I thought, how many young mamas struggle? How many get into that busy lifetime, that busy part of raising your children? And every part of raising your children is a busy part. And you get into that, and it's easy sometimes to lose your faith. Now, I love the fact that I know you. I know most of you, and you're really working to keep the Lord first in your life. You really are. I love it. I watch you and I see that. But understanding that it's easy to get caught up in day-to-day living. It just is. It just is. And before you know it, you're not where you wanted to be, kind of thing. I've been there, done that. Just a second. It's that whole thing of, am I being a good mama? I'm keeping them fed. I'm keeping them dressed. I want them to know that I love them by being part of their activities and all of those kind of things. But do we understand, or did I even understand, the power of Jesus in my life? And I think I've mentioned to you before, maybe in another video, that I wish I could take the relationship I have with Jesus and go back to when I was a mama and start again. But then I don't want to start again because I'm afraid I'll mess it up if I start again. I have all these people always go, if you could go back 25 years and do it different, what would you do? And I'm like, I'm scared to do that because my kids are good people. I have two that are struggling in faith. One has faith, just hasn't figured it out. The other one, I'm not sure where he's at. But of the five, they're still really good people, and they have tender hearts, and they're striving to be good people, and overall, they're serving the Lord. Three of mine are extremely faithful and really working to be who they're supposed to be. And like I said, one of them, my daughter's working through it. She does want to follow Jesus. She says she loves Jesus. She's just working out what that looks like. But so I look at that and I'm like, if I go back 25 years, what if I mess it up? What would happen? What if I did it different? So I wanted to just start talking with you in these videos and give you hope, because the young woman that I talked to in Una, she said that we did a Friday night and a Saturday morning, and she wasn't going to come Saturday morning. And I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back or anything, but she came back Saturday morning, and she told me at the end of the day, I hugged her and she gave me a little origami swan she had made. And she said, thank you. You gave me hope. You gave me hope. So, and then I found out later, this young woman hadn't set foot in a church in years. She just stopped coming. Her husband comes and brings the kids. And so it was a big deal. It was a big deal. She just needed some hope. And so that's what I hope I can do for you as we kind of sit and talk about things. And I want you to send me topics you want to talk about. Let's pretend we're chit-chatting. Now, if we were chit-chatting, I'm a better listener than I am in videos. But if I have listening moments in videos, you guys are going to think something's wrong with me because there's nobody for me to be listening to. But I want to give you hope. And here's what I want you to wrap your hearts around. Here's what I want to wrap your hearts around. You know, I have hope, even with my two kids that are struggling. Even with my two kids, well, one's struggling, one's let go. I have hope. Our Jesus is powerful. Our Jesus is amazing. And I want to take you to 1 John chapter 5. And I was trying to decide what to read here because I could read the whole thing. And it's 1 John, and I think I've told you before, if you haven't studied the book of 1 John, go study that. Oh, it'll lift you up and show you the power of love in our lives and what that looks like. But anyway, if we look at this, I'm going to start in chapter 5. I'm just going to start at the beginning of the chapter. It says, whoever believes that Jesus is the Christ is born of God. And I believe, and I know you all do too, Jesus is the Messiah. So we're born of God. And whoever loves the Father loves the child born of him. And since we love the Father, we love Jesus and we love his children. By this, we know that we love the children of God, and that's we love each other. We are children of God when we love God and observe his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. Sorry, my coffee maker's buzzing. We keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. And remembering that those commandments are love God and love others. And that's not a burden for us because we know that God loves us, that he gave us Jesus. He gave us Jesus and we love Jesus. And so because God loved us so much, he gave us Jesus. It's easy for me to love him in return. And it's easy for me to love his children. I have my moments. We all do. We all do. That's why all these letters are full of put aside anger, put aside malice, because we struggle with what that love looks like for each other. But this is the part I was actually getting to. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. We're born of God. We believe Jesus is the Messiah. We're born of God. So, for whatever is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Our faith. As we're raising up our children, and I can remember those moments, man, I can remember those moments thinking, I think the world has got a hold of my child. I believe that the world has got a hold of 2 of my kids right now. And I cling to, and it actually gives me hope that I know that my faith overcomes the world. And so I cling to that. I cling to that faith that I know who it is that overcomes the world. And it goes on, verse 5. And who is the one who overcomes the world? But he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. Don't you love that? I love that. We overcome the world because we believe that Jesus is the Son of God. So I was thinking about this as we talk about this, about raising our children and the importance of planting that in them of, Jesus. It's all because of Jesus. It's all because of him. I'm going to have a drink of coffee. It's all because of him. I look back at my own life and I think of the path I took. I was raised in a home that taught me that Jesus is the Son of God. I was raised in a great home. My parents were great people. They still are great people. But they planted those seeds in me. They did the best they knew how. They really did. They were great parents. They were great parents. If you ask them, they would both tell you, yeah, there's some things we would have done different. Of course, we all look back and go, I should have done this, I should have done that. Can't undo it. We can't undo it. So it's looking forward, making sure we're planting those seeds. Look at those fingernails. Planting those seeds that Jesus is the Son of God. Planting those seeds and wrapping our hearts around Jesus. That's the thing that's going to help your children overcome the world. It's not necessarily teaching them about all the sins of the world. But if we teach them to wrap their hearts around Jesus, we just read, that's what overcomes the world. It's our faith. Our faith in Jesus overcomes the world. So that gave me hope. That gave me hope, and even gives me hope still to this day with my grown children, is the fact that every time I'm around them, I get to plant some Jesus. I get to plant some Jesus seeds. And I pray for people to come through the lives of 2 of my kids to do that, because I've done everything I can for them. I haven't quit, but they know where I'm at. I do still talk Jesus in front of them about different things. I plant some little Jesus seeds. But understanding that the world around us, we overcome the world by our faith in Jesus. Isn't that awesome? I love that. It makes us sound so powerful. I have my moments where I don't feel powerful. I'm having one today, not feeling real good. I have one more marriage seminar. It's actually a retreat this weekend. We have one more on our schedule for the year, and I'm trying to protect myself right now so I can feel good enough to finish that out. Because I feel like God is using me in that way to give people hope, to give them hope. I do feel sad sometimes that I'm not as quite connected here at Memorial than I would like to be, because I'm busy doing other things in the kingdom. And then I have to remember this is part of my journey. This is part of my phase of life. And I wouldn't stop doing the marriage seminars, because right now I feel like God is using us. And not that I'm perfect and I'm not the only tool that he has in his toolbox, but he's using me right now. And so I'm hoping that some of these videos that we share over the next few months lift you up and give you hope. I want to always be somebody that is an encourager. I always want to be that for any woman, not just younger women, for any woman. We all have our struggles. We all need hope. We need that hope as we go through this journey. So I'm praying that's what I did for you. I'm praying that as we have some coffee and we visit, send me some topics you'd like to talk about, especially since I'm doing all the talking. And then when we have our Zoom meeting, you can chime in. You can share what that feels like. You're in the middle of the struggles with your children, however old your children are. If your children are in middle school and high school, you may be thinking you're past that, or you may be in the depths of despair going, oh no, I only have a few minutes left before they're gone. Let's talk together and let me give you some hope. Our God is great. And our Jesus is at work in everyone. So that is my focus for the next few videos, is to just give us hope. Let's find some things to talk about that you need that weight lifted off of you. Don't be afraid to share. You think you're the only one in the middle of a battle. You're not. You're not. You think you're the only one that feels like you're a mama that's not enough. You're not. No, we all have our moments. We all have our struggles. It's easy to look around us and think everybody is so perfect, and that everybody's marriage is great, and that everybody's children are so much better behaved than ours. It's okay. Everybody's going through a struggle. Everybody is. And so through these videos and through our Zoom meetings, let's talk about some of those things. I've found that in the Zoom, I know it's not a personal thing. I mean, we don't get to see each other face to face. It's through this technology. But let's act like we're face to face. Let's talk about some of these things. Don't be afraid to open up. Nobody's going to judge you here. And if they do judge you, who cares? Who cares? Just ignore that and go on. That's what I've learned. There's always going to be somebody that sees the negative in me. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. But we're going to focus on giving each other hope. We all have our struggles. We just all do. Right now I'm struggling with this. Right now I struggle. I'll admit to you right now. Okay, I'm going to put down my coffee. I was acting like I was wrapping this up. I'm going to admit a struggle I'm having right now. It hit me the other morning. We were in Nashville. It hit me that I'm not sure my relationship with Jesus is where it needs to be. I know my prayer life is kind of suffering because I've got to moving so fast recently that I haven't got to pull up and have a whole lot of Jesus time. And so right now I am struggling a little bit in my relationship with Jesus. I feel like I've put Tammy first. And I know that I've been serving and I've been doing things for other people. Not that I'm patting myself on the back, but good things can pull us away from our relationship with Jesus. And sometimes those good things, I have to step back and go, am I doing the good things to give God the glory? Or am I doing those good things so that I feel better about myself? And so there's my struggle. There's my prayer request. I don't feel like my walk with Jesus. I feel like Tammy's gotten in the way a little bit of my walk with Jesus right now. So there's my struggle. There's my struggle. And so you can pray about that for me. But on our Zoom meeting, and that's Thursday night, on our Zoom meeting, let me know. What can we talk about? What do you need? Where do you need a ray of sunshine in your life? Let's talk about those things. Let's get them off our shoulders and lift each other up. I love you all so much, and I look forward to talking to you Thursday.